What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Frozen Mallet is in kind of a weird spot right now, and due to some problems with the item, nobody really ever builds it, but I feel like it deserves a bit more attention and is a reasonable option a lot more often than you might think. Let's get started. Now the first thing to think about is why nobody really ever builds the item, and it's mostly due to the gold efficiency. Without taking the passive into account, Frozen Mallet is only about 90% gold efficient, which realistically is actually kind of bad. There's often a lot better options to maximize your gold usage in game, but we have to consider how much does this gold efficiency actually matter. Well, I think of it like this. Gold efficiency matters a lot less as the game goes on. The more gold you have throughout your build as a whole, the less the gold efficiency matters, and the more slot efficiency matters. The reason for this is because in the early game, when both players only have 5,000 gold or so in their builds, the difference between some nice gold efficient items and some items that aren't really gold efficient can be the difference between 300 to 500 or even more gold worth of stats. And in the early game, when both players only have one or two items, that stat difference can be somewhat significant. But when both players have 3 or 4 items, even something as big as 500 gold worth of stats probably won't matter at all, since fights will be way more decided by positioning and utility, and the gold value of stats won't matter as much. And since in the early game, 500 gold of stats might be like a 10% difference, but later on it can be as small as 3% or even less, which is totally insignificant. And because of this notion of gold efficiency, I think Frozen Mallet gets passed by a little bit more often than it deserves, and as such is an underrated item and can be really solid when picked up as a third or later item in a build. The stats of 700 health and 30 attack damage is actually really awesome on what is a bruiser champion. After you build an MR and an armor item, the extra health scales great with your build, and the extra damage would help you be more of a threat in fights too. And because of that, I think it's a great item to pick up on tanky champions if you want the utility. And it's honestly a great defensive item option for AD carries too. The 40% slow for melee champions and 30% slow for ranged champions is actually really potent. For comparison, red buff only slows by 24 and 15% respectively on melee and ranged champions. And since the Frozen Mallet slow applies on your auto attacks, the utility it can bring can actually be really good. The slow is really powerful, and being able to buy an item that brings a lot of added utility to a champion is something your opponents might not expect, and so the crowd control is really useful. So it's a really powerful tool that you can use to really kite well in fights or chase down targets or really just hurt the kiting of your opponents. And that kind of utility you bring to a fight will almost always result in a lot more tankiness or a lot more damage as a whole for you to pull off as the fight goes on, or if anything, the extra crowd control will help your team out a lot. So I recommend considering the Frozen Mallet option on bruisers, especially ranged bruisers, as well as a defensive AD carry item, since the utility can give you a lot of hidden power in your games.
Hey guys, it's me Jeremy. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, definitely make sure to hit that like button so I can tell, as well as you can check me out on Facebook and Twitter at Gaming Curios. And check me out on Twitch too, I do weekly streams. And if you really enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, as well as you can check out some of my other content up above. Anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.